you home. All this time you thought we'd never pay the price. In the game of love you have to roll the dice. My heart got 7 years to life. 7 years to life. I've been told that time will heal all our wounds and our sorrows too. No more clouds, no more rain. I need sun to ease my pain. Before this night is over, I will guide you home. All this time you thought we'd never pay the price. In the game of love you have to roll the dice. My heart got 7 years to life. 7 years to life. All this time you thought we'd never pay the price.
Oh no, Lillian, sorry about Austin's foot. That's never fun. Hopefully it's not broken and it's just a little sprain. Beth, where's Beth? If Beth could send her x-ray technician vibes
She said,
across the
"Come on."
lives. Yeah, there we go. Then we could get him all set up. But ice, rest. He probably needs ice cream, you know, unless he's lactose intolerant or dairy free. I feel like a twisted foot after a game deserves ice cream or some sort of bonus treat, something. How is everyone? It's so good to see you all. Taylor, you pre-ordered both books. Woo, that's so exciting. I know, I'm so excited to, it's always funny because even if I have a lull of 4 or 5 months without a book coming out, it feels so long. And I'm like, that's really not long in the scheme of things, but I'm very excited to share both of them with you. Lost Coast, of course, is its own thing. And then Hold On for Beer Life is book 5.5. The tech guy actually came up with that idea, which I totally love, for the Sloan series. So, yay.
Well, I mean, yeah. In fairness, it like I was borrowing it from.
Ooh, you can
some
borrow.
guys, yeah.
Yeah.
It wasn't. I didn't personally create
okay.
that. Yeah.
Lenore, you found out that your 8-year-old granddaughter is a dog-eared reader. Yes, bring her over to the dark side. She's one smart cookie. You know, I mean, what are you going to do? Sometimes you need to dog ear. And Karen, I am with you. It is Taco Tuesday at our house tonight as well. Post live, we will be having some tacos with some fresh lime and avocado and salsa. I can't wait. Yay. Oh, Renee, thank you so much. I loved writing this one, and you're going to get to see a glimpse at the end of who I think Emily is. Tonight, I'm going to share sort of the main casts of both the Bakeshop and the Sloan Cross series. And then I will show you who I imagine Emily, who is our protagonist in Lost Coast Literary, to be. I didn't go through the rest of the cast because most people have not read the book yet. It's not out for another few weeks, so that seemed weird. But I always love to kind of have a visual. I think it's fascinating because you all know I'm such a reader myself. Are there any books that you have read and then you have gone to see a movie or a TV show and what you pictured as a character is completely different in every way, shape, or form than what you imagined from the books. I will say, for me, there have been two experiences, and interestingly enough, they've both been with mystery series. Joanne Fluke, her Hannah Swedson series, Hannah in the books is redhead, and she looks nothing like Alison Sweeney, who plays the character in the Hallmark series. I enjoy both, but it's just fascinating because they don't mash up at all in terms of the descriptions from when I first read that series to then seeing them play out on the small screen on TV. And then I would also say that's true for the Agatha Raisin series. What I picture Agatha in terms of MC Beaton's writing is completely different. Like, I imagine her to be short and kind of stocky and like, I don't know, like really wiry, grayish hair for some reason. And of course, Agatha in that series, if you haven't seen it yet, it's on Acorn BBC. They're just delightful. She's like super swanky and PR and all put together. So that's mine.
I agree with this 100%.
Oh, yes, right? Where's your pop-up cam? Tom Hanks. Yeah.
Tom Hanks is great. I
him.
love Tom Hanks, but he is not Robert Langdon.
He is not Robert Langdon. I would agree with that 100%. Which made me think of something else with that. Stephanie Plum. Oh, Diane. I agree with that one too. But the funny thing is, for me, it's like, I still love the story so much. So once I get into the TV shows, I'm usually invested still too, but it's always like, oh, that is not what I had in my head. So I'm going to be interested tonight to see if any of my inspirations for the series, like, and none of these are spot on. They're just probably as close as I imagine these characters to be, if they don't match up at all with what you have pictured.
Well, and also it should be mentioned that if you got your wish and this cast was used for either of these series, these would be $40 million TV movies.
Yeah, this will never happen in real life, right? Yeah. Totally. Brooke Dog Earring Books gives me life. Oh my gosh, I'm with you 100. Where's I need a book.
Oh wait, we had a question.
Okay.
We got to go back.
Okay, we got to go back.
Sharon actually had a good question.
Who makes dinner on Tuesdays? It's kind of like we tag team, I would say. Don't you think? It kind of depends.
Definitely tag team.
Yeah, we both, I would say, I don't know, like I would say it's probably about 50-50 most nights, really. We don't, sometimes we cook together, but then a lot of times like you'll cook and I'll have a glass of wine and read on the couch or vice versa. Who else do we have?
This is absolutely Sahara.
You had read those books. I hadn't read the books. You had read them first.
I love the Dirk Pitt series. I just love it. I love that movie too. It just, because I like both those actors, but they were not Dirk and Al. They just weren't. There's
that's
just
so funny because
way.
I hadn't read the books. You had, and so when we saw the movie, I loved it. But yeah, you the whole time were like, no, this isn't.
Yeah.
Okay, Angie, Tom Hanks hits your mark for Langdon. Okay, good. See, that's why what we have in our head. Oh, that's what I was going to say. I knew there was something about Tom Hanks that came up. I think I've shared this in my Author Academy before, but if you haven't seen or if you haven't listened to Dead Eyes, it is such a fantastic podcast. If you are a podcast fan at all, I highly recommend it. It's all about this actor who got fired by Tom Hanks and his attempt to figure out why, because Tom Hanks said he had dead eyes. Anyway, it's a total segue, but it's great. Okay. Sorry,
I'm doing some tech support in the YouTube. We've got a bot.
We got a YouTube bomber. Sahara was more of a parody, Valerie says. Yeah. Cherry, you think they got Wright Trillian for the Hitchhiker's Guide? Not in the TV show, or they never got Trillian right. Not in the TV show or the movie. You're not a fan of either. I have never read. Can you believe this? I've never read it. The tech guy has read it, and I have never seen the series either. So you are going to make me do that. Stephanie, I understand what you're saying. Alison Sweeney. I love Alison Sweeney. I loved her when she was on Days of Our Lives too. Totally. No, I mean, I'm saying I love sort of the revisioning of a series, which happens all the time. I mean, unless you're J.K. Rowling, if a book gets optioned for movie or TV, you're not going to have a lot of say as the author, which is fine. You're sort of like, okay, you take it and make it into something new, which I think is great. Anna Louise, I know I need to read it. 42 is the answer. Okay. But it's so funny because she didn't match up at all. All of the actors who've played Jack Ryan, yes, Valerie, totally. I feel you on that too. Okay, well, we can keep this conversation going, but without further ado, I thought we would start off with the Bakeshop mystery series first, and I will give you a sense of who I imagine might be the stars. And we have to start out right away with none other than Jules. Okay. So I imagine Blake Lively as Jules, and I'll be so eager to hear what you all think from that. Oh, it's a special ding. What was that for?
Look.
Blake Lively. That guy approved. Oh no. I'm like, what am I seeing? That's hilarious. Brooke is agreeing. Cherry's like, no. I love it. See, we can have a book battle right here tonight. I imagine Blake, maybe with a little hint of like a slightly goofier personality, with, like some Kristen Bell energy to her. She would not be icy at all, and she's definitely, like she can't wink, and she's kind of quirky at the same time. So that's kind of my visions of, Joseph is agreeing with you. No complaints. Yeah, that's what I imagine. I always see Jules with sort of this long, flowy hair. And what I love about Blake, especially in this picture, is her smile's so warm and inviting. And I feel like when I'm thinking of Jules, that's kind of the vibe and imagery that I want to capture, that, you would feel welcomed in. If you walked into Tort and saw her smiling face behind the counter, you would be like, oh, this is someplace I want to stay. Yeah. Kristen Bell, right? Yeah. We've been rewatching Veronica Mars, which is so fun because Kristen Bell is basically the same. How many years later? Like 20. Okay, Thomas. I know I'm going to get some heat for this one, but I totally imagine Thomas as Chris Evans because he's sweet and kind and just like so easygoing, those sweet eyes. Everything about him just feels like pretty low key too. He seems like the kind of guy that you could just hang out with, and that there wouldn't be like a lot of pretension or anything that comes with him. I can also imagine Chris Evans, and maybe it's because he played, Captain America back in the day. But I kind of imagine him in a small town too. Like, he seems like he would be fine and really content living in Ashland for a long time, which is kind of the vibe that I have of Chris Evans. I should have had the tech guy put this picture in here. I started writing this series before we lived in Ashland. I've shared that many times. But when I came to Ashland for maybe like the second or third book event, I noticed a police officer walking down through the plaza in like shorts, his little blue uniform, like shorts, and just like super smiley, kind of looks like Chris Evans. His real name is Officer Matt, but he is like Thomas in real life, and he knows that now. He still works here in Ashland, and every time I walk by, I'm like, wait a minute, like, did I somehow mind meld? Ryan Reynolds would work for sure, Sue, and that would be perfect because Blake and Ryan in real life, yeah. Okay, here we go. Who's ready for a little Carlos? Are you vibing with me on this one?
Wait, this is...
Cherry, we all approve. Okay, I mean, clearly I have a direct line to Chris. Like, we're basically besties. I feel like Carlos has to have all of the Latin vibes. You're feeling it? You're ready?
Yeah, but this isn't the picture that you normally use.
It's not always the picture that I normally use.
The one that she normally
as I'm
uses
like touching
is
my
this.
hair and like, there he is, Mr. Marini. Sans shirt. I actually have this picture on my original board that I did of him with his son in the beach in Spain. I know, Jennifer, I'm here for you. Ooh la la. Where's Jamie tonight?
Oh my gosh, the comments are blowing up.
I told you. Joseph is not impressed. There are a lot of shirtless pictures of, I don't know if it's Giles or Giles. I'm not sure how you pronounce it, actually.
Yeah, that's a great question, Lenny.
But can he fix your computer? Anyway, I absolutely I adore him. And every time I think of Carlos, I think of that face. Okay, moving on to the always suave and debonair Lance Rousseau, who is the artistic director at the Oregon Shakespeare Festival, is always in a well-cut suit. Oh yeah, Wilbur would be good too, Stephanie. There's definitely like a little bit of vibe there. For sure an accent, Judy, yes. We're still talking Carlos. Anyway, so I completely picture Matthew Goode as Lance. I imagine him sort of like walking in a cat-like strut. I would definitely love to see him in an ascot, but you know, he's got the whole British vibe. So that also works for me. He's very tall in my mind, but he might not be in yours, and that's totally okay. Like, I absolutely love it if you have someone pictured in a different way for any of these characters, because I think that's the gift of writing and reading. Oh, there we go. Lance will always be Alan Cummings to me. I can see that forever. You'll campaign. Okay, Lenny. I'm fine with that. I loved Alan. Does he still do the PBS masterpiece intros? He's so great on that. So I can totally get that vibe too. He is Lance as a character. He's kind of got like always that little bit of an impish look to his face, but there's some depth behind that. Aaron, I'm trapped under a toddler and you beat me to it. Does Lance not have a mustache? He has, Brooke. He has at different points in time had a mustache and a goatee, because, you know, we're 14 books into the series. So he has shifted over time. Oh, Dan Levy. I would love that, Suyin. That's good too. There you go, Karen. You and Suyin are on the same. Yeah, Dan would absolutely work too. Neil Patrick Harris, NPH, Linda, we're neighbors. You're in talent. Hey, we were just in talent over the weekend. Yeah, I could totally see NPH. All of your suggestions are great. Yes, but Lance is definitely, in my mind, a looker. Okay, we're moving on to Helen. I envision Laura Linney. This kind of energy. Maybe, you know, this might be like she's dressed up for a wedding or something like that. Helen is kind of like that calming presence, warm and kind. She's in her mid to late 50s when the books start out. So she is vibrant and beautiful, and also finding love herself, which I won't give away any spoilers in case you know, you're not that far into the series. But Helen is just one of those characters for whom I feel like anyone who is in her presence just feels completely and utterly at ease always. So yeah, that's my Helen.
Because you've mentioned it a few times, not everybody knows.
Oh yeah, Talent. Okay, so Talent is just north of Ashland. It is the sweet, sometimes it gets referred to as North Ashland, which is not fair because it's its own little city in its own right. Talent is one of the cities that burned 2 years ago in that massive wildfire that we had here, but it's a sweet little funky artistic community. And I'm doing the book launch for Lost Coast Literary there at this great pub, Art Bop Beer Company, which is where we were over the weekend. And I'm so excited because I wanted to do an event there as soon as we could have events again to support the community. It's literally like 5 miles from Ashland. Like it's like we're neighboring cities, towns, not really cities. But I've been wanting to do something there for a while because there's such great rebuilding going on and this new investment in the community. And it's been such a hard time for so many people who lost everything. So I'm very excited about that. Let's see. I loved her toy. Wasn't she great in Love Actually? Yes. Oh, Sally Field. You know, Mary, that is so interesting because that's fascinating, and that might actually make me tear up a little bit. My mom, who died, who is the inspiration for Helen, looked a lot like Sally Field. In fact, I'll have to share a picture. Like, if they could have been sisters. So I'm not surprised that you picked that up too. Fonda, yes, the event is going to be open to the public. I'm going to share news on it this week, but it's going to be a bop-in, because it's a bop. No, it's a pop-in. We'll have books there. I'll be signing books. Jennifer Ann Nelson, who is the cover artist for Lost Coast Literary, is going to be there with her art. You can grab a beer. It should be super fun. Oh yeah, there it is. Yes. There's her beautiful illustration. Yeah. Adam Lambert. Oh my gosh, I can totally see that for Lance too. Yeah, that's brilliant. Is anybody watching the new season of American Idol? I haven't started it yet, but I hear good things. Renee, I would totally love to come to the East Coast. You know, fingers, toes, everything crossed. Things are just feeling like, you know, I've had some outreach from bookstores. I'm going to be up in Leavenworth at the end of April. It feels like it's just starting. So hopefully by next year, you know, there'll be a lot more travel involved. I'm too far away. I know. I would love to do an East Coast tour. My goal is at some point to do a whole book tour everywhere, but you know, time. Okay, moving on. We have the professor. I picture Kenneth Branagh as the professor. He's got that scruff, you know, sort of like a hint. I think the professor might be slightly older, although Kenneth, maybe the age Kenneth is now is a good match. Maybe there's a touch more gray, that he's got a little bit of gray coming in. But again, there's definitely a sense of kindness and warmth behind him. But he's also very cerebral. And I love that he has like this attachment to mysteries now because he's been doing the Poirot.
There's a lot of agreement on this.
Is there? Okay, yes. I know, right? And we need him to be in tweed would be the problem. I feel like, hi, Susan. Yes, you're down for Kenneth too. I'm so glad to see you here. I hope you're doing well. And Joseph, don't you feel like he and Laura work as a couple? Absolutely. They would look beautiful together, and they would just complement each other so well. We need him in tweed, though. We need him to have a moleskin jacket. Like, I have these specific props in mind every time I'm working on characters. And he also has a connection to Shakespeare. Kenneth, the real actor. So I feel like he could really bring the professor's Shakespearean tendencies to life. And I would love to see that happen.
This is funny.
You can only, I know. He was brilliant in that, wasn't he, though? Because he was such a, like, narcissist, and, it was a perfect character. Toy, I agree. He's amazing in any role he does. He is. Okay, and then Sterling. Mr. Sterling. You know, I pictured Timothee Chalamet long before Timothee became Timothee, who he is now, which I absolutely love, because when I was first writing the Bakeshop series, maybe when would that have been? 2014. I came across a photo of him in some, I don't know if it was Entertainment Weekly. It was about up and coming young stars. And I was like, oh, that energy there is going to go someplace. And lo and behold, clearly I knew, but I just think Sterling has such soulful eyes. Sterling's eyes are steel blue, so slightly different than Timothy's, but kind of a little bit moody and serious, and yet this poet soul, which I think is what makes Sterling so unique in my mind. He looks like a Sterling, right? He'd be cute, all done up goth. Elisa, right? Which brings us to Steph, our goth girl extraordinaire. I can't talk. I have always envisioned Sasha Lane as Steph. And she's got, she's kind of got the Steph look here in this picture for me, that she's a little like, keep your space. I'm going to be doing my art here. And when I'm ready to talk to you, I'll let you know. Steph, I also feel like always has like a little touch of violet somewhere in her hair. And I think they just make such a beautiful couple together. She is just such a gem. I've really enjoyed getting deeper into Steph, right, Suyin? Okay, I'm glad you agree, right? She's so good. I feel like Steph, like we are slowly learning about her over the course of 14 books, which in part is just page space because ultimately there's the mystery and she's kind of a secondary cast member. But with each book, I feel like we learn a little bit more and a little bit more. And I will tell you, in Donut Disturb, we get quite a bit of her backstory. We understand like another layer about her because I think, initially it's kind of like she's using her persona as a barrier, and through the years it's been fun to break that down a little bit, and there's probably more of that to come. Okay, the only person who is not included on this, which you brought up, Tech Guy, is, you want to say?
Richard Lord.
Richard Lord. And there is a reason for this.
It's a good reason, too.
Richard Lord is based on someone I know. And I don't need any sort of visual for Richard Lord's character because this person is very clear in my head. Obviously, Richard Lord is like an amalgam and a like grossly exaggerated version of this person. But I definitely think it's better if he remains closed for these lips. I don't really know, because I have such a clear vision, I guess, I don't really know what he would look like. You were talking about the actor who plays Mr. Dursley on Harry Potter, who died. But
he passed away.
Yeah, and I don't know. I don't know if that's exactly right. Oh, Sharon, that's so hilarious. Yes, exactly. Yeah, I'm not exactly sure, but Richard Lord is just a combo of everybody bad.
Can we go back? A lot of people were asking about Sasha. No, I got.
Oh, sorry. Where are we going?
What are you doing here? Okay. Because a lot of people are asking what she's been in.
She's been in a bunch of different stuff. I discovered her about the same time that I discovered Timothee. She was in like some entertainment magazines, and it's like Mr. Marini. I don't know why I would like to call him Mr. Marini.
She was in Loki. She was in Loki.
Was she in Loki?
Yeah.
Was she? Oh, she was in Loki. Yeah. That's right. But these are all cutouts that I have had for. I should get in my closet and show you. For 12 years that I just cut out of magazines when I was first working on sketching out the Bakeshop series, because I need visuals. I'm such a word person that I needed some visual cutouts. So that's how I first discovered her. That's right. She is in Loki.
She was also in Hellboy, like the new one, not the which was not great, but she wasn't in the old ones, the originals.
Okay, good to know.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we're going to move on to Sloan, the Sloan Krause Mysteries. And if you aren't familiar with this series, it is set in Leavenworth, Washington. It is very Bavarian in nature. Sloan is a brewer and a mom of a teenager. And I originally, when I first started writing the Sloan series, pictured Jennifer Garner, or like some iteration.
Also,
what's that? Oh no. Some iteration of Jennifer Garner. And the reason I picked this picture of Jennifer Garner is because I feel like there is somewhat of like Sloane's a little more protective of herself than Jules. Jules is a little more ethereal and romantic. And Sloan is a bit more serious. She's grown up in the foster care system. She has I don't know if edge, I'm not sure,
Well, that's funny. Judy,
Yeah.
you got to watch Alias.
Oh,
Just
yeah.
go back and watch the Alias series. Jennifer Garner has an edge.
She's tough. And I think that's how I first was introduced to Jennifer Garner, through Alias, and she's just pretty badass.
Yeah.
So that's why I think of her. And with Sloan, it's funny that you said edge, Judy, because I was thinking edge. I don't even know if it's an edge, but I think she has more grit, maybe, she's got some depth to her. So this is interesting, though. A few readers over the years have also suggested Tessa Thompson, who I also can 100% picture as Sloan as well. Tessa, if you're not familiar with Tessa, was in Veronica Mars. That's how I first knew her.
She was also in Thor Ragnarok.
Says the tech guy. Oh yeah, like Jennifer Garner and Elektra. Totally, Aaron. Much more that vibe. So it's funny because I a lot of times readers will say, oh, I pictured this person. Well, there you go. It's like Lance with Alan Cummings. And I can go oh yeah, I understand why you have that visual based on, how I've imagined the character myself. And I feel so strongly about this one with Tessa that now I kind of want to update my board. And maybe they're I don't know, can they mash up somehow?
You're not getting much love on these picks.
No, nobody's feeling it. Let's see. Yeah, she has a backstory. She has to be tough. Exactly, Toy. She has gone through a lot. Oh, Mila would work for Sloan too. Lenny, you're feeling Tessa more too? Yeah. I love that. Such an evolution of my own perspective on characters. You think Tech Guy needs to take over for a week, Valerie? I think let's make that happen. Yeah. Okay. Who are we moving on to? Oh, Mac. Mac is this picture of Chris Pratt.
Actually, it's just Chris Pratt is Mac because Chris Pratt is a big.
Yeah. Chris Pratt. Hasn't
Awesome
been
as Star-Lord, but not awesome in real life.
Yeah, there's been Chris. Yeah, everything that came out with his special needs child. Anyway, we could go down a whole trail there that we don't need to go. But this cheesy, schmarmy, hey you kind of vibe, that feels like Mac to me.
Yeah. See,
now
Jennifer knows.
He's the worst. Truly the worst. And Mac is too, but I will say, with both series, when I first started writing them, I had different visions for what was going to happen with Carlos and what was going to happen with Mac. And I think and hope, one of the things about writing a series and growing a cast of characters is that they grow and evolve too. And so I do feel like he's so icky, right, Sue? Biff from Back to the Future. Toy, God. That is also brilliant. But it's that whole thing of okay, but how would Sloan be with him initially? That's always my sort of gateway question of but it does make sense because she met him at a time in her life when she was really vulnerable and she was desperately seeking family and she kind of got wrapped up in the whole Krause family. Schmarmy, yeah, right? Anyway, I think trying to make sure, especially with Mac, that he does have a growth arc as well and we see more of his humanity. Even though there's no chance, and this is not a spoiler, there is no chance that they are ever getting back together, in the words of Ms. Taylor Swift. Hans, on the other hand, I happen to adore, who is Mac's younger brother. He's a woodworker.
Any Mentalist fans out there?
Yeah.
I approve of this one. Wait, where's my button?
Okay. Excellent. Exactly, Toy. She fell more for his parents than Mac, and she needed. She was looking for stability. She was looking for a way out. She had spent her whole childhood and teenage years just going from house to house to house. So this idea of being enveloped by the entire Krause family and really Leavenworth as well is really the arc of her growth too. But I love the relationship between Sloan and Hans. And at one point in time early on, I had almost thought like, would they end up together? But I decided against it for a few other reasons, and because this other story idea for Hans really started to develop for me, which we are not going to get a taste of in book 5.5, but we are going to get a taste of in book 6. So that's my little teaser for you. Hans is going to have his own journey, let's just say, which I'm excited about. But anyway, Simon Baker, this feels kind of like the Hansy vibe to me. This entire set of characters is older by about 10 to 15 years than the Bakeshop cast. So, you know, they've lived their life, they've had experiences, and yeah, we're going to have to see what happens with Mr. Hans. Garrett, I get Chris Pine vibes. I mean, come on, Chris Pine. Is anybody with me on Mr. Piney Pine? Chris loves The Mentalist. There you go, tech guy. You got a I wasn't looking at comments.
Oh yeah, awesome.
Yeah, it's so
Loved
good,
that
isn't
show.
it? Yeah, so good. Hans is beefier, the brawny paper towel dude for Hans. Aaron, that's good too. I love that. I imagine a little bit of like a nerdier version of Chris Pine for Garrett. Garrett came out of the tech world in Seattle and moved to Leavenworth when he inherited his aunt's estate, his great aunt Tessa's estate. And brewing was kind of always a hobby for him. So he needs to be Chris Pine, but with like nerdy glasses and like some kind of t-shirt, like beer t-shirt. Yeah, and like probably some sort of like goggles or chemistry glasses. And he's got to be just like a little bit messier than Chris Pine somehow, but kind of that's the imagery that I have. Oh, and Garrett is really tall. He's tall and maybe a bit broader.
Chris Pratt is the worst Chris, and Chris Pine is the second best Chris.
Who's the first, Jennifer?
I'm
curious.
I
I have some thoughts of who they might be between all the Chris's, but do tell. Yeah, Beth. Yeah, he's got to be dorkier. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Chris would have to he'd have to play slightly out of character for Garrett, because Garrett is all about the chemistry and the beer and the process. But what I love about Garrett's character too is that he kind of blends that tech world with Leavenworth, and he has such a clear boundary about not getting sucked into all of the small town drama, which I think would be really true if you've moved from a big city into a smaller town, where he's just like, no, we're not going to do that. Like, April can come into the pub as often as she wants and tell us that we have to put up like German kitsch, but it's not happening. It's my pub. So I love that.
Everybody's saying there's a bit of a debate whether it's Chris Evans or Chris Hemsworth.
I know. Okay. Yeah.
All the good Chris's are, well, and I guess the worst Chris are coming from the Marvel universe. So.
That's right. Okay, then let's move on to Otto. What's that?
This could be a whole.
That's
a whole Tuesday Night Live right there.
Yeah, there it is. Otto, I imagine to be Martin Sheen, just like kind of the round, beautiful face and the warm smile, and you would just feel like if you walked up to Otto Krause and he was your grandfather, like you would just immediately be wrapped up in a hug, and he would have his accent and some maybe like wired rimmed glasses that sit on his nose, and yeah, it just feels very perfect to me for Martin in this sphere, I guess. And they would be about the same age, but still like very active and involved in the brewery and engaged. What's that? I know, right? I know. He's
What's
always.
next?
What's next? He's always that to me. Such a good show. We rewatched that with the kiddo a few years ago, and it's still held up very well. From the prescription commercials, that's hilarious. It's like Rob Lowe, who was also on The West Wing, but then he was on a great show called The Grinder, which we loved, but it did not last. It lasted for like 2 seasons. It was great. It was Rob Lowe and Fred Savage. But Rob Lowe would say literally like every 5 minutes.
This is actually a good observation because
Charlie
Charlie Sheen could play Mac, and there you go. You've
Totally.
got that, yeah.
I never even thought about that. That is a good point, Judy. Ursula, I kind of have like Helen Mirren vibes. I mean, because she is perhaps like the ultimate goddess. She's so beautiful, but with Helen too, her grace is sort of always understated, which is what I think about with Helen. I mean, with Ursula, that there's just sort of this natural calmness about her. And again, kind of like the other Helen in Bakeshop, the fake Helen, the real Helen. With Ursula, you would have just a really smooth sense of conversation that she would invite you in and definitely give you some German cookies. They would be baking together. I just love everything about Ursula and Otto as characters. I think they are like the perfect grandparents. What's that, Michael?
A lot of people loved the
Grinder, right? Yeah. Yeah, and how old is he, really? Seriously, right. Beth, like, he doesn't age. And how many great things has he done? So we had The West Wing. He made a pact with the devil because he doesn't chase. Yes, 100%, right? He did The West Wing. He did The Grinder. Parks and Rec, like, I mean, and then, of course, that's not even going into, like, all of the Brat Pack movies from the 1980s. Like,
well, actually, you don't watch this, but if anybody's jonesing for a little Rob Lowe, check out, 911 Lone Star.
No, I don't
totally cheesy scenarios for the rescues. Those of you who live in Texas will laugh at some of it, but classic Rob Lowe. He plays a fire chief, and it's pretty good. Yeah.
It's pretty good. I haven't even heard you talk about that one.
Yeah, that's I watched it on my own.
Yeah, Aaron, Ursula is rounder and squishy. She's shorter too, but I just pictured like sort of that face, like maybe slightly rounder, but like and that face and energy for sure. Yeah, I love. Oh, Olympia Dukakis. Jessica, interesting. I love that. Yeah, she's definitely cuddly, for sure. She's wearing her German scarves and she's got warm tea all the time. Absolutely. Like, she is your grandmother's kitchen. Warmth, but just kind of like Helen's face. How's that? This one is hard, but April is that's not what I was going to say, but yes. April is based loosely on someone I knew as well, but who doesn't look anything like her. Like, it's based on personality. I just got, sorry.
Cat hair?
No, it's from my scarf. Oh. I touched my scarf and then the hair flew up. It's really hard to find a picture.
Actually, move your scarf over a little bit so on the mic.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
It's really hard to find a bad picture of Jessica Chastain because she's just a pure beauty. But I imagine April with like really garish red hair and always very voluptuous, always in some sort of a push-up bra and an over-the-top outfit. You know, she's kind of like, she's got some touches of Richard Lord in her. And so, like, even in this picture with Jessica, like, Jessica's too good for April here. But, you know, kind of that, the look of Jessica's face is one of the things I think that is captured by April, where she's always kind of giving you that look of like, I'm going to kind of smile and then I'm going to cut you down. Kristen Chenoweth. Oh my gosh. Yeah, Toy, that would be perfect. Kristen would be great. And a beer wench outfit. Always, always. Allison Hannigan. Yeah, that's another great suggestion. I can't see her without thinking band camp. April is older for sure. She's about Sloan's age, so she would be in her late 40s. So yeah, I think Kristen Chenoweth would work for sure age-wise. And then, yeah, it would be so fun to take all of these. Tech Guy, this is a good project for you, and put them all in like the outfits that I imagine. You can do that in Photoshop, right?
Sure, no problem.
No problem.
Yeah.
Okay, get right on that.
The comments, I'm really enjoying the comments tonight because people, I think a lot of people are having trouble separating like the actor as a person from the roles they play or could play, you know, so.
Totally, and I think that's the interesting thing about writing characters. For all of these, this is like what goes on my inspiration board when I start with a character and I think like, okay, her name's going to be Juliet. She's romantic, she's ethereal, and then I will put together vision boards almost of like, what would a day in Jules' life look like? You know, what is her morning coffee? What's she wearing? What's on her bedside table? What's she reading? Does she like accessories? Does she not? Like for me, and a lot of that, I would say probably 80% of that doesn't ever even make it onto the page. It's just my way from a writing perspective as really trying to tap into a character and make them as whole as possible. Joseph, you've never thought about creating a board of people. Yes, you should totally do it. I think it helps tremendously. I think it gives us so much more information. I have long lists of questions that I ask myself about these characters too. So it's not just like the superficial thing, but it's like, you know, what would they do if, what would Jules do if she was walking along the plaza and she spotted $100 bill? Like, how's she going to react? So I have all of these questions and then visual cues and sensory cues that I use to create these characters. So these are just really the visual cues of what I think. Beth, they've been a lifesaver. I'm so glad they work for you, right? And it's super fun. I mean, let's admit it too. It's also just, it's pretty much like, you know, going back to school where you get to like cut things out on paper and like put them wherever you want and make these collages. And yeah, I'm so glad. Cherry, you started a vision board of the people and locations for your fictional town, right? Yeah, I did the same thing with the town. In fact, I don't know.
Oh, God, yes. Can we talk about it?
Yeah,
please.
Totally.
Oh,
no.
Okay, well, see, here's the thing. If I did a live, I would be heavily censored by the boss because I love to. She doesn't read the reviews. I love to read the reviews, the bad reviews, because they crack me up. And what book was it for?
Oh, this isn't where I thought you were going. I thought you were going to talk about the map that I made.
Oh no, I was going to talk about you doing the fictional pieces of Ashland.
Oh yeah.
And the review of a recent Bakeshop book, and some reader was like, sometimes I feel like the author's never even been to Ashland.
I know, right? And it's fiction. Yeah.
Oh, ouch.
I was gonna say though that when I started writing, when I start all of my series, I will make maps because I also need to imagine like where everything will be. And I've told you this, that if you come to Ashland, things aren't exactly where you might imagine them from the series. They're roughly there, but my map is just pitiful. Like it is basically a stick figure drawing of like, go here, go here, which is one of the many reasons why I need visuals that go along with things. But yeah, no, I think that's so important. What's that? Oh, you were thinking Sloan was in her 30s. She would have had Alex pretty young. Although, I mean, she was younger. Okay, and then last but not least, I will give you a little glimpse of what I picture Emily from Lost Coast Literary to look like, and I'll just give you the very briefest introduction to her as a character. She is an editor in her late 20s. She is 29. She is living in New York. She's been working at a publishing house and trying to like build out her career. And it isn't necessarily the rainbows and unicorns that she thought it was going to be. And so she gets an unexpected call that she has inherited her grandmother's literary estate on the Lost Coast. And she comes out to California to deal with that. So she's very bookish. She is, books have been her escape. Like she has gotten lost, very, very lost in books over the years, for better and for worse, as I think many of us have. Books can be an escape, and sometimes maybe we can want to live in that world a bit longer than we should, and we're not really looking at what's in front of us. And so that's kind of who she is, but she loves books. She's been rewriting book endings for as long as she can imagine. She loves everything. She's the most bookish person you can imagine, is basically the short answer. And I imagine Bonnie Wright as Emily, kind of really like with this look. And I'm sure that many of you will recognize Bonnie Wright from Harry Potter because she is the actor who played Ginny Weasley in the series. And I've always had this affinity to Ginny, so I love that too. Have you ever talked to other people about how they envision the towns in your stories? You paint an amazing picture, although I think we have our own idea of what they look like. Yeah, Chase. I have, and it's always interesting because, again, with the towns, I think you're going to get kind of my view, and then if you come to any of these real places, you will get your own view, and then it's a mashup of what you have already pictured in your head. So it's always fascinating to me. I hear from a lot of readers on both the Leavenworth front and the Ashland front. I think Leavenworth is maybe a bit easier because it's the village. It's one space. One thing that I think readers will say about Ashland is that it's bigger than they imagined, which I think is funny because Ashland isn't really all that big. But over time, I've also been expanding out, and Leavenworth is so small that it's a little bit easier to identify. But yeah, I always find that fascinating. Like, how are you going to picture it? And I do have a map of Ashland that is coming soon. So she does have a great book lover vibe, doesn't she? She's Rory Gilmore from the Gilmore Girls. Absolutely, Toy. Yeah, she's definitely got some Rory energy to her. Right, where it's like, when do books become too much? Is there such a thing? I don't know. I'm not sure. But I just love that. And I also love Bonnie Wright. So there you go. Speaking of Lost Coast Literary, it comes out on March 29th. What?
Hold on.
Oh.
What are
because we for?
We're going to have a revolt here. Could you talk about Andy?
Oh, I just totally forgot about Andy. Oh, sorry. Well, I was going through, but now that there are so many, we also have Bethany, and we have Rosa, and we have Marty.
Right, but I didn't flag them all because there have been at least 30 comments from readers that want to know about Andy.
Oh,
poor
Andy.
poor Andy.
So sorry. Okay, I'll share an Andy picture tomorrow.
But Andy,
we don't talk about Andy. No. Oh, honestly, as I was going through Bakeshop, I'm like, well, there's a much bigger cast now, so I forgot about Andy. Sweet Andy. Oh, that's hilarious. Okay, but Lost Coast Literary comes out on March 29th. And it's available for pre-order now. We are hosting a Goodreads giveaway, so if you want to snag a digital copy, you should go enter that. It runs through the end of the month. Is that right, Tech Guy?
It ends on release day. So
it ends on release day.
So winners will be notified on release day.
Winners will be notified.
So that way they'll get the book on release day.
I know. And I'm only telling you, but books just came, so we have like final copies in our hands. Very exciting. A lot of them. A lot of them. So I cannot wait to be sending them out soon. I'm so glad you enjoyed the first chapter, Linda. Yeah. Come, since you're in talent, come to the launch party. We'll have a beer and it'll be great. Jennifer Ann. Hey, I was just talking. So Jennifer Ann is the cover artist who I did a live with earlier this summer. She designed that beautiful art, and she's going to be at the launch party too. We are also going to have a live launch party here, so don't worry. We are all going to have our launch party too. But if you are in Southern Oregon, Northern California, and you can make it to Talent on Wednesday, March 30th, come. It's going to be awesome. What else? Hold On for Beer Life. This is book 5.5 of Sloan. This is going to come out in
5.5.
5.5 on May 3rd. This is a novella. So it's going to be but not a short. It's gonna be probably about 100 pages, and it's gonna take place right where we left off, and it's gonna really feature Garrett and Sloan, not the entire cast. So, but it should be read in order. It fits in order, and it's kind of a drink to tide you over until the next big book of Sloan, which I'm working on now, and I'll have more news on that soon. And then Donut Disturb comes out on June 28th. This is a Lithia Park Wedding. Book 15? Book 15 of the Bakeshop Mysteries. I cannot wait to share this one with you.
Wait, hold on. Time out.
What?
Beach Bum Bookworm has a great idea.
It should drop 2 later. Oh, it should on 5/5.
I like it. I might have to update that. That's
a great idea.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. I can't believe that we're on book 15 of Bakeshop. This book was just another book that I got to write while the world was whirling around us. So I always feel so appreciative of getting to enter the world of these characters, who now you kind of have a little idea of what my visual looks like for them. I love that some of your visuals are different. That's how it should be. That, I think, is the best gift of reading. Reading is the only moment in our lives where we inhabit somebody else's worldview, which I know has changed my life. It's changed my life in deeper ways too, with books that aren't just necessarily light and fun. But if you have a different vision in your head, please keep it, because I love that. I love that for you, as Alexa would say. Yes, so Donut Disturb comes out June 28th, and then we'll have to have another party then. I'm hoping to have some sort of Lithia Park party in real life too. So we'll see if that's gonna get to happen. But maybe, fingers crossed. That's it, right? Oh, what's coming up next for lives? Woohoo! Next week we're gonna share some St. Patty's Day recipes from Sloan's Kitchen. And then on March 22nd, we're going to do, this time it's murder, reveal, and watch party. I'm cracking up because the tech guy and I scripted this one out together. And yeah.
It's amazing. It's going to be amazing. I mean, it could be terrible, but it's going to be, if it is, it'll be so bad, it'll be amazing.
Right. And then we'll have the Lost Coast launch party on the 29th. So
just that, yeah.
What's that?
Just that.
Yeah. No, but I mean, we already talked about it.
The 29th and the 30th.
The 29th live here, the 30th live in Talent in person. Yeah. So, yay. Can't wait. Cannot wait. It's going to be so much fun. On that night, who's ready for Taco Tuesday? Do.
Wait, if I take over and run, and I'm in front of the camera the whole time for the live, are you going to be running the show?
Oh gosh, here? Wow, that could be fun.
That could be fun.
Maybe you'll have to. We haven't mapped out April yet, so maybe you'll have to.
Okay.
Maybe we'll have to have a tech guy take over for April.
Okay.
I run the live. Okay. Yeah, I'm down for it. I'm definitely down. That is, yeah. The live might cut out multiple times. I'll push the wrong button maybe, but oh dear. All right. It's always such a delight to spend the evening with you. Happy reading, and I'll see you soon.